And now we are live. Hi, hello, magandang tanghali. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to another session of Career Talk Thursdays. I'm Roan and I'll be your host for today. So, ito na yung 24th session natin for our Career Talk Thursdays. Akalaan nyo, 24 times na tayo nagkasama every week, di ba? And this afternoon, we will be talking about how to look for a job as a fresh grad in the Philippines. So, itong topic na to ay para sa mga fresh grads, and young millennials na gusto magkaroon ng overview kung paano ba tayo makakahanap ng trabaho as a fresh grad. Di ba, hindi naman kasi natin to napapag-aralan sa classroom natin, di ba? Walang subject for this kung paano maging adult after graduation, di ba? So without further ado, let's all welcome our guest speaker for today. Liz has over a decade of experience in talent acquisition or recruitment, a huge fan of data and system and process improvement, as well as helping out startups and small medium enterprises. A certified Kaizen practitioner and certified recruitment and selection professional. She is passionate about providing jobs for Filipinos and an advocate of molding the youth as future professionals and leaders. So let's all welcome Miss Liz. Ayan. So kumusta, Miss Liz?
Hi, good morning or good afternoon sa lahat. Thank you for that quick introductions, Rowan. Yeah, I'm good. Thank you for inviting us, Booth and Partners, to host this
Mm-mm.
career talk. Thank you.
Ayan. So nakapagkape naman na kami. So sana kayo rin naglo-lunch kayo habang nakikinig. So parang podcast tayo today, 'di ba? So ready ka na ba, Miss Liz, for your presentation?
Yeah, sure. We're just gonna make this quick and simple for you guys to understand and have you prepared for your future careers, especially for those fresh graduates and mga pag-graduate pa lang. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, let's
Ayan.
get it on. All right. So again, welcome to everyone who's watching this career talk hosted by Prospel, and for today we'll be talking, or we will be preparing you for in terms of how to look for a job. No? So next slide, please. So for today, it's very upfront. We're just going to be discussing a couple of things: how to widen your circle, do your research, develop your soft skills, innovate, be ready, your values, and your value, of course, to employers. So before we proceed, job hunting is actually an exciting journey, no? And this is something that I am grateful of when I was still starting. So why is that? Is because definitely you get to see different offices, company vibes or culture, and the likes, no? And you get to meet a lot of people. So definitely there are recruiters, there are hiring managers, but also you get to interact with other candidates who may be applying for the same role, or perhaps they are applying for another. So and aside from that, you also get to learn from your job hunting experience, particularly on your interview experience. So there. So just before we proceed, this is just a quick overview of our profile. Next slide, please. Okay, there. So this is us, Booth and Partners. So we are in a mission to empower professionals and help business of small size around the globe to grow and accomplish amazing things. So we value the ideas of our employees, supporting a culture that fosters thought, leadership, growth, and a positive environment to work in. So before we proceed to the tips, no, on how to look for a job here, here's an overview of our company, as mentioned earlier. And what I've mentioned too is that it's all about, your experience when you're applying. So you get to see I've mentioned earlier, unconventional or cool offices, good company vibes and culture and such. All these, actually, I was lucky enough to have landed a job with Booth and Partners, where we find the best talents, technically or culturally fit, to provide the right people, the right solutions to our clients globally. So there. All right, next slide. So let's go with the first item that we need to, as a tip, no, on how to look for a job as a fresh graduate. So, widen your circle. Definitely, you guys have been with your batchmates for a couple of years. You might not have been interacting with other people outside of your university or your colleges. So, widening your search is highly important. No, so as a fresh graduate, you are likely or mostly aware of the most common or popular brands out there where you'd like to try your luck, but widening your circle, okay, would mean widening your perspective. So, for instance, career fairs would help you get exposed to other companies that you're not aware of. So definitely, uh, likely, you know of like certain brands for food and beverages, let's say, and retail or apparels, right? In which you'd like to join to. But attending career fairs will enlighten you with other industries or companies that you might be interested in, to apply. So another form of widening your circle is to actually join Facebook groups, let's say, or other forums, in which you will get insider information of how a certain profession works, or what technologies and certifications would you need to be successful in this role, or let's say, and give you personal experience from an employee within that particular company. All right. So, and those will be good considerations and good insights in order for you or to convince you if this is the right company for you. Okay. And definitely, it's already a given. There are a lot of job boards out there, and most popular one would be JobStreet, Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn, etc. And don't hesitate to, just register, dump your CVs there, and either wait for an employer to call you, or you just have to apply, okay, on certain position that you would feel you'd be a fit to. Okay. And lastly, don't be shy. Okay, don't be shy when faced with a recruiter. Okay, your recruiter or they are the frontliners of the business, no, in looking for the right people for the job. So your recruiters are the most trusted one in terms of if you'd want to get their opinion or their feedback, insights on your application. So make it a consultative, no, consultative interview, in a sense of, after the interview, don't hesitate to ask for feedback, because as a fresh graduate, it's a learning process for you to on how to improve your soft skills, and later on we'll be discussing that. Okay. So, and lastly, seek assistance from your university career center. So, I've indicated this at the very bottom because it's already a given, and I want you to consider the first four bullets that I've just mentioned. Okay, so don't hesitate to ask questions on our chat box. And Rowan here will collate those, and we'll have time later on for Q&A portion. Okay. Next slide, please. All right. So do your research. So I've written here a couple of items on what to research, no, in terms of how you are able to be prepared for an interview. Okay. So just like what I've mentioned, always come prepared for the interview. Check or Google their company website, visit their social media accounts. Don't forget to subscribe or like our page too for Booth and Partners. And all right, and understand, of course, the job description. No, so and as an applicant, as a fresh graduate, expect the unexpected questions as well. All right. So this way you'll also be able to relate to the interviewers when you get to research about the company, about the job, about the industry, or about the must haves and the preferred skills. Okay. Um, Perhaps in my personal experience when I was a fresh graduate, I had this during my era. Call center is actually booming. No? So a lot of job opportunities are more of customer service, technical support, collection specialists, and such. But for myself, as a psychology graduate in the University of Santo Tomas, definitely I was looking for an HR related job. But when I have applied to some companies. I landed. My first job was actually as a collection specialist. No, so but that's fine. That's fine. It actually was a good opportunity for me. Okay, because like what I've mentioned earlier, you are confined, no, with your university, with your batchmates, etc. But for me, landing in a call center field actually helped me, you know, be exposed to let's say other company culture, the differences of or the individuality in terms of perspective. And I think the greatest learning or perhaps improvement I had in terms of joining a call center job is improving my English communications. Okay, so just as fresh graduates, the most valuable tip I can give you is that you have to face your fears and your doubts about yourself. Okay, don't hesitate to try out things. Just for me, I when I was back in college, I was telling to myself I'm not gonna land a call center job, but my first job is. So, but I did not regret that because of the learnings. Okay. All right. So, next slide, please. Okay, so I kind of discussed earlier about the soft skills. All right, so soft skills are non technical skills that describe how you work and interact with others. No? So I've indicated there a couple of items that you might be able to think about no, after this presentation. So I've indicated there communicate well, be part of a team, and have positive attitude. Okay, so you have to ask yourself, are you able to communicate and comprehend well? Okay, both in Filipino or Tagalog and in English. Okay, are you a team player or do you rather sit in a corner and work alone? Okay, do you have a positive outlook in life, or are you an overachiever? All right. How well do you believe in yourself and having yourself upskilled? All right. Or what's your perspective of a personal development? All right. So, as employers, just like for myself and Booth and Partners, we do not expect fresh graduates to have it all. Okay, definitely, you're fresh graduates. Okay, so first, you do not have any relevant experience yet. Okay, and although relevant internship is a huge plus. In majority of the courses I know, you are allotted about 100 to 700 hours for internship, and that's a huge plus. Okay. However, your gestures, okay, and how you present yourself and answer questions says a lot about how you'd be as an employee. Okay, if you're, where do you look when you talk? Um, Are your hands sweaty? Or I'm describing myself when I was fresh graduate. Or what else? Uh, is your feet on the ground? No, so those things, it says a lot. Your gestures, how you express yourself through your hands, let's say. So it says a lot, especially to us recruiters. Okay, and contrary, as they say, action speaks louder than words. At times you're able to present yourself very well, to the point of being overly confident by just being wordy, or plainly more of the talking. Okay, but recruiters, just like myself and Tin, who is on the back end, um, we are able to weed these candidates out, by asking situational questions, right? Again, gesture says a lot. So, um, as an example earlier, we typically assess how you answer the questions. Okay, it can all start from a handshake. How firm do you do the handshake when a recruiter or the hiring manager extends a hand to you? All right. So next slide, please. Okay. Right. Thank you. So this is innovate. So there are a lot of questions there. In order for you to innovate how you do things. So, um, but first, innovation, it simply means doing things differently. So for one, one of Booth and Partners' core values is actually is there to think differently. Okay, and as a fresh graduate, okay, I guess I have put emphasis enough that the lack of experience shouldn't hinder you from getting exposed and from self learning. Okay, and from these, you get to ask yourself, all right, are you able to think outside of the box? How are you able to meet crunch deadlines, no, or your projects perhaps in school? How can you make the business grow, or how are you able to contribute being a fresh graduate? What software or applications most comfortable uh, are you most comfortable working with? Okay, so on top of Facebook, YouTube, or perhaps TikTok, what else do you know as an application, no? Apart from Microsoft Office, let's say. All right. And lastly, have you used any ATS friendly platform for your resume? All right. So ATS there, probably you don't know this yet, but ATS stands for applicant tracking system, in which most companies are using to maintain a database of applicants. Okay. So having an ATS friendly resume, the details you have indicated on your resume are easily captured by the platform. So and this makes it more efficient, all right, for recruiters or for the company to track and view your application. So you can definitely, reach out to me on my LinkedIn account. It's Liz Dela Cuesta. If you'd need help or assistance in properly coming up with an ATS friendly resume. Okay. All right. So next slide, please. All right. So be ready. Okay. So being ready is having due diligence in researching about the company you're applying for, and having to prepare a well written resume with relevant keywords to the role you are applying for. And these items have been discussed earlier at the earlier part of this talk. All right. So how can yours stand out? If all fresh grads resume says eager to learn, or willing to learn more, or perhaps when your objective on the resume says something copy pasted over the net or recommended by your university. Okay, so you have to learn how to make your resume stand out and unique in a sense. All right, and as a fresh graduate, your resume should focus on your values, okay, and relate it to the core values of the company. All right, and the hiring needs definitely in terms of the job scope. All right. So those are some questions for you reflected on the screen, which you might want to think over a bit later. All right. Okay. Next. Okay. All right. So on the previous slide, I kind of mentioned your values, no? So looking for a job is not sending application to all job adverts you see online. I've mentioned earlier there are a lot of job boards, popular job boards in the Philippines, and there are a lot of job opportunities. But as a fresh graduate or as an applicant, you don't have to apply to all. Okay, so we call these guys spammer applicants if they just keep applying and applying without even reading the job description, okay, or the job advert. Okay, so again, research about the company and relate it to your values and principles. Okay, then ask yourself, what do you care the most? Do you value quality time with your family? Do you love routinary tasks? Or do you love traveling or being on field? Do you like talking to people, etc., etc.? Okay. Focus on job opportunities that align to your core values and principle. That's it. All right. Um, what else? So apart from those questions, definitely, as mentioned earlier, my first job is in the call center industry. So you also have to consider or ask yourself if you're open to what sort of work hours. No, are you open to graveyard shift? Are you only open to local or business hours like 8 to 5 job or 9 to 6 job? Um, Definitely considering if you're open to working in office in a daily basis, or do you prefer hybrid wherein you're just being asked in office for certain days, or do you purely or do you rather prefer pure or permanent work from home? Okay, so those things, at times companies indicate those things on the job adverts, at times it's not. But definitely, as mentioned earlier on the first slide, I guess, don't be afraid of the recruiters, or don't be shy to ask questions, no, and validate or clarify some aspects of the job scope. All right. Okay. And next slide, please. All right. And lastly, your value to employers. All right. So, same way as you match the company to your principles, be prepared to showcase what's in it for us, the employers. All right. So, why should the employer hire you? Okay. What makes you stand out among all graduates, as mentioned earlier? Or how is your CV or your resume appropriate for the role and the company you are applying for? Okay. To make it more visual, remember that recruiters and hiring managers receive tons of application per job opening, and you have to think carefully on why we should consider or why we should consider you for the role. Okay, and this may be like your technical asset and your personality. So there are two things that we're weighing here. Regardless if you're a fresh graduate or you're actually an experienced applicant, we always consider not only the technical aspect of your application, but also your personality or your culture fit within the organization. Okay, so there may be times that perhaps in a decade of experience in recruitment, no, so I've already talked to a lot of people. Okay, there are times that you will be wowed by the experience or the projects that this person has been catering to But the personality is just not there. Okay, and as they say, skills or technical skills can be trained, but personality is not. All right, so I think those are uh, the most important aspects that you need to consider. No, what's your value proposition for the employers? What can you bring in the table? All right. And yeah, I think that's about it for me. That's a very, very quick one. Again, very straightforward, but Rowan here will help me facilitate in terms of the question and answers. All right, Rowan?
Ayan. So, sa Q&A naman na tayo. Ito, question dito. In a competitive job market, what is your best practical tip to stand out in a job application?
Okay. Sige. So, I think we're gonna go back to the ones that I've discussed. No, I need to put emphasis that the way you answer questions, okay, will really help boost your application. Um, Regardless if you're a fresh graduate or if you're actually an experienced applicant, okay, we always weigh things out in a sense of not only your relevant experiences or your previous experiences, but also in terms of your communication style. All right, communication style. Are you the type of candidate who keeps on asking question, despite being repeated by the interviewer? Is comprehension there, meaning to say, do you understand the question clearly, or do you keep on asking the same questions? No, or how confident are you in bringing yourself, all right, in terms of presenting yourself. So there are a lot of aspects that you can bring in the table, even so that you are a fresh graduate. That's what I'm trying to say.
So, paano yun if ever may tanong yung recruiter or interviewer pero hindi mo alam yung sagot? Paano nila yun malulusutan? Parang ganon.
I would say hindi mo siya malulusutan, no?
Mm.
But you can always answer questions in a different way or in a unique way. So if you don't know the answer, you can be very, very honest, no, that you don't know the answer. Or you can also answer the question na hindi mo alam in a way that you have the initiative. So for example, you don't know the answer, right? So you can
Mm.
just simply tell them, that's a good question, but I don't have the answer, and that's something that I can look up to in Google. All right. So this there's a what we call a curveball question, no? In a recruitment field. Curveball questions are unexpected questions. So typically, your recruiters will ask or employers will ask you, why should I hire you for this post? Right. I think for me, over a decade, I've been asking the opposite. Why shouldn't I hire you for this role? And this is something unexpected. No, this is where you get the creativity of the person, in terms of answering the question. Curveball question can go like, um, uh, how many pizza boxes do you think would fit Makati City? Let's say. All right. So those are, you don't know the answer, but you can be creative on how you answer things. That's what I'm trying to say. So you can be very blunt and upfront that you don't know the answer, but everything's in Google. You can Google it, right? Or you can you can show some wit. For example, in my curveball question, the pizza question, you can uh, go back to the recruiter and say, is it a large pizza, family size, or is it a small one for solo? So you can be, you can have some wit, or you can be very serious in answering question,
Mm.
or you get intimidated. So
So, sa mga curveball questions ba, wala namang parang right or wrong answer
and no,
on your
no,
end?
No, there's no right or wrong answers in curveball questions. This is just, a tactic for the interviewer to see how you handle stressful situations. Like, for instance, that pizza question. It's like it's gonna wow you. You're gonna be caught off guard. So,
Mm-mm.
but again, different people, different ways of answering the question. No? So you can be serious, you can be very upfront. I don't know the answer, or you can bring in a calculator if you're too genius in in math. So, yeah, there are no right or wrong answers to those.
Mm. And yun din talaga yung gaya ng sabi mo kanina, makakapag-weed out sa mga applicants. Kasi
Yeah.
parang hindi naman yun magu-Google eh, na commonly asked questions during job interview. So ayun,
Yeah.
ah,
Mhm.
sobrang agree ako dun sa communication skills talaga yung mas i-focus. Ayun.
And how you deliver yourself. Kasi you may
Mm,
be good in English, let's say, pero you're unable to express yourself naman confidently. Or you keep on saying fillers like or like. Yeah, yun yung mga
mm,
common like.
mm,
So you have to weed those out, yung mga fillers, no? Kasi minsan when I was fairly new, no, I keep on tallying yung mga fillers on the resume. Before kasi it wasn't virtual pa, diba? So we're
mm,
putting a physical copy of the resume. My team knows this. I keep on tallying fillers of a candidate, or if it's a dead air, I like write a very long line. Just I'm very visual, so if I see my notes like that, I know that this person's like taking time to think, or perhaps this person is an overthinker, just
mm.
to be able to present him or herself well during the interview.
So, siguro last, follow-up question lang dun kasi personally, isa ako dun sa mga people na maraming fillers, yung, parang sobrang felt ko yung baka overthinker 'to kasi ganun talaga. So, paano
Mm-mm.
yun maiiwasan kasi parang minsan inevitable siya
Mhm.
parang iniisip mo kung ano yung susunod mong sabihin. So, parang ano yung personal tip mo para mas mabawasan yung gano'n?
Mhm. Well, I guess there are a lot of ways to, kind of improve that kind of, situation wherein you use a lot of fillers, or you take some time before you get to answer the question. No? So one, just like how I do it now, I kind of uh, I kind of go back to your question just by talking, but really I'm thinking how to answer your question. Okay. And then second, there are a lot of free online courses or online training that you can use in actually enhancing your communication style. Okay. Siguro pinaka-common na ginagawa ng mga tao would be um, watching Netflix, or or HB, or whatnot, no, in English, and then they read the subtitle just to get the diction, or get the tone, that employers might be checking into. Yeah. So there are a lot of ways to improve your communication style. Before, sabi nila, you have to bite the pen or a pencil and then you speak in English, no? So that it's not going to be Tagalized English when it sounds. So those are some tips that I can provide you. But basically, again, if you don't know how to answer the question just yet, just talk to the recruiter. And while you're composing yourself, the most important aspect when you're answering questions is that for you to be composed, because if you panic because of the question, mabablanko ka, 'di ba? Mas lalo mong hindi alam yung isasagot mo dun sa tao. So, yeah.
So dito may question. So
Okay.
for you, what's your best personal advice on how to pass a job interview?
Just
So
be
sa
yourself.
years, okay, be yourself.
Yeah, just be yourself. You don't have to pretend as whoever, or you don't have to overkill it. Again, kanina I nabanggit ko no na as a fresh graduate, we don't expect for you guys to be at 100%. Okay, but what we want to see in you is your passion for this particular profession. Okay, as a fresh graduate, of course, apart from the learnings you've had with your universities or your colleges, are there any aspects ba na in terms of initiative, your personal initiative, were you able to attend other sort of training or upskilling, just to have that passion to improve yourself? Okay. Ayun. So, I think the greatest tip that I could provide you is one, just be yourself during the interview. And second, do your research. Because if you don't do your research and I ask you what's Booth and Partners, let's say, or what are our core values, and you're not able to answer those for me, I would instantly know that you just applied or click that apply button sa job boards. And wala, you did not read about the company, or you did not even read the job description itself. Ayun. So, um, doing your own research actually prepares you on how to answer the questions, especially during the initial screening. Kasi at times, or majority of the time, it's not just one interview that you're gonna go through, no? Meron initial interview with the recruiters, and then next would be the department heads for final interview. Minsan, umaabot siya ng 3 or 4 interviews before you get the official result, or at times naman, una pa lang, you'd know the result na, no? Minsan, madami pa yan assessment and such. So, that's why doing your own research helps you how to be prepared, and do the best, no? Do your best in terms of the interview.
Ayan. So, yung isa naman sa questions natin na dito, what are your thoughts on applying for a job that you are not qualified for?
Okay. Ang hirap pa. Siguro, if I'm gonna be just myself, no, I'm gonna ask you back, why are you applying for something na you're not qualified for pala, no? For example, you're an accounting graduate pero you're applying for a web developer position, so that's a total mismatch, no? And you already know it for yourself. But if you have applied for something na aligned naman on the course that you took, you just feel you're not qualified for the position. One, baka masyado mo lang dinadoubt yung sarili mo, right? Or second, babalik ako sa point na face your fear and your doubts. Okay? In my personal experience, okay, as a fresh graduate, I keep on applying to roles na it may look intimidating. Okay, so when you read the job description, it might look intimidating. Pero if you believe in yourself, okay, you just keep on applying. Okay, and that's what I did as a fresh graduate.
So,
Alam ko
parang,
need yun.
so, for example, meron nakalagay na requirement 2 to 3 years worth
I
of
still
work
apply.
experience, mag-a-apply pa rin.
I still apply. Take your chances. There's no harm in, clicking that apply button.
Mm,
But just be wary. Kasi, yun nga, sabi ko kanina, di ba, there are people whom we call spammer applicants. Those
mm,
people keep on applying and applying. Um, so, perhaps what another tip that I could provide is that although napakaraming work, no, available elsewhere, no,
mm.
um, you read on the job description, perhaps you bookmark or you save those, no, before you click on the apply button. Once you have a list of those job adverts that you'd want, or perhaps you're interested in, just select, or i-ano mo pa siya, i-cut down mo pa siya to 3 or 5, and then focus on those 3 to 5 applications lang na. Okay. But yeah, I need to put emphasis on uh, don't don't be shy. Face your fears, face your doubts. Okay, there's no harm in applying, and being a fresh grad is just being a fresh grad. Hindi naman natin yan pinipili eh, 'di ba? In terms of um uh, hindi mo kasalanan na fresh grad ka. Okay, but
Mm.
as an employer, we're also not taking that opportunity just because you're a fresh grad. Okay? Ayun.
Naalala ko lang din dun sa tanong na 'to, kasi ganun yung nangyari sa'kin dito sa Prospel. Iba
Mhm.
yung role na in-applyan ko, paid ads marketing. So, very specific. So, sakto lang yung experience ko dun, pero mas social media. So, ayun, hindi ako natanggap sa role na yun, pero nag-reach out sa'kin yung, one of
Prosper.
the bosses na baka
Mhm.
gusto mong mag-explore sa
Yes.
ibang employment opportunities namin in terms of social media. So, ayun.
Mhm.
So, yun yung isa sa examples na shooting your shots, gano'n.
Tama yun. And those things actually happen a couple of times, no? Wherein, again, just give it a shot. There's no harm in trying. Tulad sa akin, I've applied, fresh graduate, kahit 2 to 3 years experience hanap dyan, or even 5 years, I really applied because I want to be with that company. I did my own research, no? Pero I landed a job for collections initially, no? But I considered that because although I'm confident, I know my weaknesses too, no? Na I need to develop my communication style. I need to kind of be exposed to other cultures or other diversions, like different classes ng tao, etc. No? So, as fresh graduates, don't hesitate too much, no? Pero don't be overly confident din naman, no? Baka mamaya fresh grad nag-a-apply na for managerial position, let's say. So there's no harm in aiming for those position. Kung talagang confident ka, okay lang din naman. Baka kasi let's say manager yung ina-applyan mo, pero they have an associate level pala na you might be considered for, then at least, di ba, you were able to join the same company na gusto mo talagang joinan.
So, meron ditong related question.
Alright.
Engineering consultancy firms nowadays require technical skills that I wasn't able to acquire during college. How can I land a role there even when I'm willing to be trained for it?
Okay. All right. So there are times that companies actually provide upskilling opportunities. No, babalik ako sa point of, as long as you have that passion, and we've seen that during your interview, and you also have that initiative on your own to learn those, let's say, technical skills. No, um, some companies are open to actually sponsoring you to get a particular skill or certification. So just like with Booth and Partners, let's say, um, you have relevant experience, you have this and that, but you don't have that particular certification. Our clients and Booths and Partners actually shoulder that and sponsor the employee. Okay. There, tulad din naman ng sabi ko kanina, there are other platform or companies naman online wherein you're able to gain this particular technical skill. So let's say, I'm not sure where Catherine's role is, or course is, no? But let's say Udemy or Coursera, there are a lot of free trainings there. If you're lacking, let's say, if technical skills aspect, if you're saying SQL or SQL or HTML or CSS and such, there are a lot of free training modules available online. No, you just have, again, Google is your best friend. Okay, Google nyo lang lahat ng mga curiosity nyo. No, being a fresh grad, you have a lot of curiosity. So Wag lang puro Facebook, wag lang puro TikTok, ha. Google everything. Google all your curiosity and everything's gonna be answered. No? Or you can reach out to me personally on LinkedIn. Wala namang problema.
Ay, ayun. Actually, mahanap na talaga lahat sa Google eh. Gaya nung sabi ni Miss Liz, 'di ba, na wag lang all the time na gagawin natin reference in TikTok or
Mm,
Facebook. So, iwas-iwas tayo sa mga fake news gano'n, 'di ba?
tama yun.
So, meron tayong question dito. Ano yung memorable career tip na sinabi sa'yo ng ibang tao? So, parang nung sinabi sa'yo, ay, parang life-changing, ganun.
Yeah. Um, I think it's not really a tip, but it's more of a commendation. No? When I attended this one interview, the recruiter actually mentioned that I have the confidence and although I lack the experience, I have the confidence level. Kaya if mapapansin nyo, kumbaga the hugot, no? Or the points of discussions that I was sharing revolves around being confident about yourself and not about doubting yourself too much, no? Given yun, bata pa kayo, you're fresh graduates, you don't have enough experience, etc. Like you're asking yourself, how can I compete with the more experienced ones, right? Given yun, but again, your dedication to yourself or your personal development, isa yan sa mga tinitingnan namin recruiters, no? Regardless if you're fresh graduate or you're actually an experienced employee.
So, very applicable ba dito yung fake it till you make it kung hindi ka naman self-confident?
Motto yan ng CEO namin.
Oh.
So just be confident. No, I just recently learned that it's actually her motto. Ayun.
Mm-mm.
So, and she's on sales. She started everything with Booth and Partners. Our CEO Carmen Booth. She's a wooer. And she's been dealing with different clients globally. Since forever, since we started. So even so that again you don't know the answers, right? You can be very blunt, you don't know the answer, or you can be very confident uh, answering the question in terms of the data that you know. Okay, or you can also revert back to the one who asked you the question, and just tell them that I don't know the answer, but I can google it for you. Mm. Yeah.
I'll get back to you pag nag-start na ako sa
Yeah.
first day ko. Or parang cliname mo na, no? So,
Oo.
mawinindang din yung recruiter, di ba? Binalik mo sa kanya. So,
And
yung
that's
mga
being
humor.
that's being confident about
Mm,
yourself, no?
mm,
Na I know I'm gonna be hired.
mm. So one thing you wish you knew before becoming a talent acquisition manager.
Okay,
So, fast
siguro,
talk ni Tito Boy.
oo nga eh. Siguro for this is read the contract, no? That's one thing siguro na hindi ko ginagawa, especially no fresh graduate ako. I'm not a reader. I think everyone sa management team ng Booth and Partners know this, no? When I was interviewed, they are all readers, they are all bookworms. So when I was interviewed, um, uh, they asked me what sort of book or do I love to read. I just told them I don't read. My favorite book is coloring book. So, so going back to answering this question, no, one thing you wish you knew before becoming talent acquisition manager. It's not about being into this kind of role, but a tip on what to do, no, in which I wish I should have done before, no, is to read the contract, the whole of the contract. So, na-share ko yung about not being a reader because contracts tend to be, very lengthy. Kaya hindi ko siya binabasa. So, I landed the job na in Monday to Saturday siya. Hindi ko, nalaman ko na lang siya first day ko na, orientation ko na, ganyan. Just because I did not read the contract. Ayun. Or, yun nga, the first job I had was in collections, no? So, definitely call center. Given naman night shift, but there are also call center naman na day shift or mid shift. Eh. Pero for that particular role, it was graveyard. And that's my first job, no, as a fresh graduate. So, again, I did not read my contract. So,
Mm.
after those two incidents, I already look into the contract. Kahit skim man lang on the, most important aspects.
Mm. Grabe 'no? Sobrang felt nung ano, yung sa contract, yung parang katulad nung for example kahit sa social media or sa ano lang, sa internet, yung, "Do you agree?" Parang gano'n, i-click
Yeah.
mo na lang agad, gano'n. So, hindi
Yeah.
natin alam kung ano yung mga pinipirmahan natin.
Mhm. That's why
Ay
with booth and partners, ano na yan eh, given na yan na baka hindi basahin. So with booth and partners, we actually do virtual job offers. We really deep dive on some aspects of the contract, just so we know that, and we are kind of assured that the new hires actually understood the what's written in it, no, before actual sign off. So kasi ano tendency yung mga tao is just, click or sign in, then
mm.
submit, no, especially now it's a digital era, no, everything's online, even our contracts are now online.
Ayan. So, lastly, what is your message to college students, fresh grads, Gen Zs, or young millennials?
Okay, so I know a lot of our viewers are college students and such. Again, do not doubt yourself too much. Okay, being a fresh grad is just being a fresh grad, but it doesn't hinder you to actually land a job. All right, be confident about yourself personally, your communication style. You have enough time to, google and research about how to improve certain skill set, or kanina may nag-ask about technical skills or lacking technical skills. There are a lot of free online platform for training, let's say, wherein you can have this skill set, or at least the foundation about this technical skill. Okay. So again, do your research, be confident, do not doubt yourself. Okay. Those are my few points or tips for you.
Ayan. So, that ends our Q&A. So, meron ka bang gustong i-plug na social media platforms, Miss Liz? Or meron ba kayong career opportunities na available for our fresh grads or kahit sa mga college students natin?
Yes, definitely. So I think we are also, since we're also partnered with Prospel, we have posted a couple of job openings there for internship, particularly for college students. But you can also go through our website on our career site. That's boothandpartners.com. If you'd want to see our job openings, it varies from different roles, from data entry to accounting assistant, back office to, software engineers, etc. So definitely we're also open to external referrals, wherein you get incentivized to, just, if you have relatives or other friends, or mga friends ng brother or sisters nyo who are looking for work, you can send their CV to careers at boothandpartners.com. And if they get hired, you get some incentives. So there. You can also check out our Facebook page, LinkedIn, IG. We're also on TikTok. Again, we are Boots and Partners. So you can just, again, Google Booth and Partners, and you'd be directed to our website and social media accounts. So there. And if you have, questions after this career talk, or if you'd want me to look into your resume, if it's presented well, you can connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Liz Dela Cuesta.
Okay. So thank you so much for your time to be here today, Miss Lee. So, konting reminders lang for next week. So don't forget to sign up sa ating platform, ph.prospel.com. And next week, meron tayo ulit, di ba, na Career Talk Thursday. What to do if you don't know what job you want. So, para sa mga kalos fresh grad na naman ulit. And to claim your e-certificate of attendance, just click the link na nasa comment section natin. Again, thank you so much, Miss Liz. Sobrang dami naming natutunan today. And
Thank you
ayun,
for this opportunity to Rowan, and thank you, Prospel, for working with Boots and Partners. And know that we are just here if you need any sort of assistance, just like with this one career talk. And I think we are hosting one more
mm,
with our recruitment business partner, Christina Postol. So watch out for that too.
ayan. And that ends our Career Talk Thursdays, how to look for a job as a fresh grad in the Philippines. So thank you so much for joining us today. Once again, I'm your host, Roan. Follow us and stay tuned on our social media channels for updates. And kita-kits ulit next Thursday. Bye, guys!